Hello, I think we are on, and I know that Jenny is here. Hi, Jenny. Thanks for being the first. You were even there on before I'm going on. So I am Christine Jousty of Mail Something Pretty, and this is my weekly live. Thank you for joining in, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Let's see, today is July 29th. Crazy that it's the end of July and August is just a few days away. Yeah, like summer's half over. Just crazy. Although I do love fall, and especially we are having a pretty hot day today, so fall sounds pretty good to me. But all right, so we are going to do. I'm trying to think before I tell you what we're going to do today. If there's any announcements in like the Stampin' Up world today, so it's really at the end of the month. Um, they will be having a sale next week, starting next week for the whole month. And to be honest, I forget what it's on. Oh, it's on in color stuff. So, and that will be my email next week. So don't worry, and it doesn't start till August. But a bunch of in color, I think it's new in color products will be 15% off. So stay tuned for more details on that. But I do love the new in colors. I don't know if we're using any of them today, actually. Oh, we are using one of them, my favorite one of them. So that's happening, but again, stay tuned. I'll talk about that more next week. So let me actually turn to my desk here. There we go. And I actually brought up my glass mat, which I haven't been using because you always see my light here. So just try to cover that up a little bit. But for what we're doing, I think will be helpful. Not necessary, but helpful, hopefully, so I won't get too inky, as they say. We are going to do it's called, let's see if I can put it here, the masking tape technique. So you may have, it's kind of made its rounds a little while ago, a couple years ago. Um, and I've noticed it a little bit again. So I thought, why not? Especially, hey Kim, I was in my email this morning, I was talking about like designer series paper, and one person said that they're finding that there's a trend to use it, and which is hard, like specifically more for Christmas time when you're making like 100, 200 cards. It's really not financially feasible to just use designer series paper. So I said, well, that's perfect. We'll use just a full stamping technique. Hi, Debbie. And so this is, and I have different versions, and we're going to make 3 different versions of stamping, masking tape technique. Now, I don't have any masking tape, so I do have painter's tape. It works the same. I'm going to show you, but this is wider. Like masking tape is generally an inch wide, and these are an inch wide kind of blocks. And so I'm going to show you what I did because I figured there's no secrets with me. I just show you everything that I do. So you're going to see the light on that too. Sorry about that. Let me actually turn this. So what we're going to start with is we're going to cut some pieces of tape. So I don't know if you guys watch The Bear or not, but now every time I use this masking tape or this, instead of ripping it, I cut it because that's what they did in The Bear. So you just want it wider than, because you need to kind of hold it with your fingers. You just want it wider than whatever you're going to stamp on. So we're going to stamp on the white paper. So I just kind of eyeballed it. But I could use this whole piece. It would be pretty wide. I could kind of stamp twice on there, but I want to make this one 1 inches. So all I'm going to do is just put it on my cutter. Did I say hi, Debbie? Hello, Debbie. Can't remember now if I said hi or not. And cut it. So this is I don't even know if it's quite 2 inches, but it's close enough. So it's just under an inch, but let's say that's an inch and then this is an inch. That's what I used anyways. So this is why I wanted to use the glass nut. So I'm just gonna, for now, just tape those on here because we're gonna cut a few of them. And cut. Have any of you guys used this technique before? I think that's all its name is, masking tape technique. I don't think it has any other name to it. Just put that there. Hopefully they don't all touch. but it works. It works. I was just sticking them to my table when I was doing these samples at home, so you certainly don't need a glass mat. But I figured they would stick to my desk blotter here, but just figured it was easier. All right, so this will be the last one I do on this size, although we might do other sizes. That's a hint of what is to come. All right, so now I might not need this many, but I have 6 1-inch strips. Oh, Kim's never seen it before. Perfect. You're gonna love it. And it's one of those quick and easy. It's really quick and easy. It might, depending on what kind of stamper you are, it could be a little messy. So let's see. Oh, I didn't even bring up a washcloth. So I'm gonna try really hard not to get messy. So I just have a whole bunch. These are all cut the same size, so we can make several. And I just cut these 3 3/4 by 5. It's just white. You can do whatever size you want, but I kind of wanted to see a little bit more of a border for my base. That's why I cut them that way. You could certainly put another layer underneath. I just decided to kind of keep them on the simpler side. And sometimes I like it. It's like that clean and crisp, which is what I really like. And I think this totally is a clean and crisp card. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's start with one here. And I have a whole bunch of colors. I'm going to actually just repeat the colors I did because when I go live and I change my mind, it takes me a while to decide what I want to do. So I kind of already played with color combinations. So for this card, again, we're going to do a few different ones. For this card, I have Pool Party, Fresh Fuchsia, and Soft Seafoam. I think it's a nice kind of muted palette, but not too muted. You can kind of see that the purple and the blue are a little bit have some color to them. I think this technique, and I don't really have if you have your lobster or your crab from I loved that set, you could do underwater colors. And because the crab and the lobster are a nice size, I think that would be perfect. But that went in my mystery box because it retired. So someone else has it. I don't know who. All right. So I'm gonna open all these up. And speaking of mystery boxes, they have all sold. So thank you very much. I will be, as a stocking up on retired stuff, as I use them and as they retire, and we'll do them again. But I think the last time I did them was like 2 years ago, so it won't be for a little bit. All right, so I'm taking my masking tape or painter's tape, and I'm holding it in either hand, and I'm just going to kind of gently put it in the ink pad and just rub it. Move it over a little bit. So I'm using the masking tape as a stamp. So I like to start in the middle, depending on where you want to go, and just press down. Now, you see my 2 thumbs are kind of on the edge of that paper. So that means the purple is going to, see how it's on the edge here? It's going to go to the edge of the paper. So you have a little play on kind of how wide you want it to go. And then I'm just going to press it down and pull it up. And there, I try not to press too hard on the center, on that side. And there is my stamp. So now I'm just going to put my tape on the purple. So I know that that one is purple. And then I'm going to do the one above. Again, I'm just copying. I'm going to do Soft Seafoam. So put it in there, around a little bit. And you can put it so it's touching. You can give a little white space. I kind of like the little white space. But again, it's your design, however you want. And give it a little press and peel it off. And there we go. So do you see how there's an angle here and there's a pretty similar angle here, and then these two don't much of an angle but are the same, and that's because I am doing it in the same direction. So if I didn't want that angle to be the same, you can kind of see, I'm just going to flip my paper over just to change it up a little bit, and that will just change the direction of that angle. Again, you keep it all the same. I think one of mine, I moved it back and forth each time. So we'll do them a little different each one. All right, Kim's saying, oh, how fun. Yay. I like the textured look as well. Yeah, it's fun. All right, so I'm gonna press this down. Oh, that one kind of went wider. That's all right. They're all gonna be different and unique. Actually, that's my bottom. So there we go. So there's one background. So let me put those aside. We're gonna finish this card completely and then we're gonna do the next two. So I need this one. I'm gonna do black ink. A lot of times this is done with black ink because you do like the silhouette look, which generally is in black. I'm going to use StazOn. I know I've said it before that I think StazOn is a darker black and a little bit more crisp lines than the Memento. The Memento is awesome for the blends markers, but whenever I'm just using black as like an image, I like to use StazOn. The other thing I like to do is refill my StazOn so it's nice and dark, especially since this is a big stamp. I also don't want to like stamp it and then like have missed a little bit. So this one I just kind of rub straight on and I'm not going to squeeze and I'm just going to, this one kind of soaks right in. And that's all I do for the StazOn. When I re-ink my other pads, I do it slightly differently. All right, here's my stamp. This is from me. I love, you guys know I love this peony. Oh, so I'm glad you like the idea, Sue. Excellent. This is from the Gallery Blooms. And this is like my all-time favorite. I love peonies. And although I really do like the other stamps and I have used them, but this one's my favorite of this set. I like how it's so big. I just like peonies in general. I think it looks nice just as is, and I think it looks nice colored. All right, so that should be well inked, especially because I just re-inked it. And now you kind of stamp it where you want it. Give it a good press. I also find the StazOn ink, it like sticks to the paper, so it's almost like I have to peel it off. It has something to do with the ink, I don't know what. Oh, and that wasn't the best impression. It's okay, because we have the faded look. I probably should have pressed harder. But it's fine. This one's a little darker, which is funny because I just re-inked it. But we're gonna do more, so that's totally fine. And now I'm looking for, this is what I'm looking for. I already pre-cut the two for each in case I made a mistake. This is like the, oh, so tiny. This is the smaller size from the postage, perennial postage dies. And I like it. A little texture again. And I'm going to stamp thank you. I always have lots of thank you notes to send with you guys, but order stuff, I like to send a thank you card with all the orders. So somebody will be getting this. And it fits perfectly on here. This thank you is from the new pear set. And I keep calling it Perfectly Pears, but I don't think that's its name. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna put it on a fresh fuchsia background. So I already cut my card base, regular size card base, which is, just in case you're new, sorry, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4.25. And I'm just gonna glue it directly on. No dimensionals, nothing fancy. Glue it straight on. What I am gonna do, and I don't know if you can see, you can be able to see both of them. Like this one I just glued on, and this one I had done before. And I have like this little rough edge. I don't know if you're gonna see it, but there's a little rough edge. Maybe you can kind of see it up here a little bit. And it just breaks up a little bit of the flatness. And so all I do, and again, my fingernails are really short. And I do it after I glue it down. I'm just going to take the paper and just kind of run my fingernail under it. And it just lifts up the edge of the paper. I think it just gives that little extra texture in there because as much as a flat card this is, it's actually full of 2D texture. There we go. So now that, oh, I think you can see it there. So then we're just going to, oh, look at it, put it in the wrong order. Shoot. I meant to, sorry, that's just color on color, but that's all right. I meant to do opposite colors because I'm just gonna put that flat down. Maybe I'll lower it down a little bit so it's in the white space. It's a little softer because it's the same color. And then I'm going to take my favorite linen thread. I couldn't find it at first. It had fallen into something. I was looking and looking. This is probably my favorite embellishment. It's something so simple, but it matches absolutely everything. So I just tied a bow. I'm looking at my glue. I'm going to cover that so it doesn't dry out. I'm going to take a mini glue dot. And what I like to do is take one glue dot off and just roll it in a ball and stick it on. So it looks like, it's just a little rolled ball glue, and then just stick this straight on there. I think if you just use the mini glue dot as it is, you'll see, the little knot, you'll just see it. So by rolling it in a ball, it kind of hides it a little bit. And I'll probably trim this a little bit. It's a little long. And then on this one, I did add some gems. So we'll do that too. I'm going to do the same ones. I have these purple ones. Oh, Sue says she made tying the bow so easy. Oh, sorry. I have another bow to do. I'm sorry. I'll show you. I think the linen thread helps because it's pretty pliable. Let's see. I'm just putting, because if I start thinking about where I want them to go, I will double think myself. All right. So I like, especially with ribbon with thread, when I do a bow, I leave it attached to the spool, because if I cut it, most likely I'm going to guess the length wrong. So I start with the tail here, and then I make my loop. And then you can actually do it two different ways. You can go and just loop it in front. And then there's a little, that's where it pokes through. And I mean, that's totally uneven, and that's fine right now. I'm gonna make that loop bigger and then just pull on the tail here. And then you have the bow like that. And then I would just trim it, and then you can make it smaller. Or same thing, I keep the tail here, make a loop. You can actually go the reverse way. Sometimes that makes it sit flatter, but sometimes it's a little harder. Takes practice. Then you just kind of fiddle with it that way. I'm gonna actually show you a double bow in a second. So hopefully that was helpful. But the twine makes it's pliable, so it's easy, or easier. All right, so that is one version. Easy, right? Okay. So the next one, let's see, I don't think I'm using any of these colors right now. So I'm gonna set these aside and have the tape if I want to use them again. Well, actually, I'm gonna use Pool Party on this one. And this one, if you can notice, my stripes are not all, oh, you're welcome, Sue. Yeah, anytime you guys have questions, just type them right in there and I'll just stop and show you. These stripes are not the same width. So what we're gonna do is, and actually I'm gonna give you a sneak peek, because to cut the shorter ones, I need to cut these in. So this is another one that we'll do in a minute. This actually has a different measurement too. So let's take our trimmer out again. So I actually might not need these ones. I'm just gonna put those up here. These are all 1 inch. I could make them smaller, so we'll see. So just gonna use again, if you got on here late, I don't have any like typical masking tape, but I have painter's tape. But masking tape is 1 inch thick, I think. We're pretty close to 1 inch. So you can use that, but this is much wider. So I'm just trimming it. So I'm just putting out my ruler. This one I'm gonna put on 3/4 inches. Again, you don't have to, you can make yours whatever you want, what size you want. So that's a 3/4 inch. And then this is a 3/4 inch. And then I'm left over with this little strip. So that's where this little stripe is. So I'm gonna save that one too. And I actually think, no, we'll cut. You know what? I don't need all these ones for 1 inch. So I'm just gonna trim some of my 1 inch down. I don't know if you heard that, but that was a very loud car that just went by. A motorcycle or something. And this will be, I think this is all I need. But you can see, like, all you have to do is trim it. If it gets too messy, then you cut another one. It's not, it, you know, and we can reuse them. You don't have to just use it once. Okay, so this one, looking for my white paper. You guys can probably see it. Well, that's not it. Oh, I lost my paper. Here it is. Okay. Again, you can make your size any way you want, but this is 3 3/4 by 5. All right, so again, we're gonna start. I like to just start in the middle because then you can work your way out instead of starting from the top and you work your way down and then you run out of room. So I'm just gonna reusing that tape we used before. And I'm just going to put that right in the middle. You can press as hard or as light as you like. So that's the middle one. So now we're going to use, it's not typical colors that I use. I was trying to pick lighter colors because I had used some lighter colors. So I think that's where I went. Usually I use brighter colors. All right, so this is peach pie. So now, so that was the 1 inch wide. This one is about 3/4 inches. And I'm leaving that little white line in between that. Stick that on there to use later. And then I'm actually going to turn this around. I'll turn this one around too, just so again, my arrows aren't all in the same direction. And I'm going to use a bubble bath. Now, some people, I've seen samples. Well, let me put this down for a second. Like I did mine. Where'd my other card go? I kind of centered my strips. Some people are putting them in just in the upper top and leaving a lot of white space on the bottom. So you can kind of put it wherever you like. All right, there's the bubble bath. And then since that one was going in that direction, I'm going to leave that. And I need lemon lolly. And this is where I'm going to use that little skinny strip. You just be careful though, because if you put your finger in it, my finger's a little wider than that strip. Now I'm going to turn that around and do it again. So my masking tape, my painter's tape is just in lieu of a rubber stamp. We've done, or I know I've done a while ago, you can also use your blocks as a stamp. Same thing. You just take your, that one's too big. Just take your clear block and stamp it, and you get kind of a similar look, just it's block shape. All right, I'm going to rub my fingers on my legs so I don't get too much. Let's see, we'll do it this direction. I had it there before. All right, so there's our kind of background paper. let me see. Sue says, my daughter just walked by and stopped and said, that looks cool. Hey, never thought that tape would leave a textured lip. Can't wait to try it. Awesome. Yeah, it really does. However the tape is. But use painter's tape or masking tape because you don't want something that will be too sticky so that when you peel it off, that it's stuck to the paper. I have not tried the masking paper. Stampin' Up! Sells masking paper that you can cut to different sizes. That is stickier than the tape. It very well may work. I just have not tried it yet, so I don't know. I don't want to recommend it because I haven't used it. Do I should have another stamp up here? Here it is. Okay. So I'm going to use the same stamp set. And this time I'm going to use this flower, which is, it could be a couple different things. It could be fennel. It could be Queen Anne's lace. Could even be a dill flower. You could probably turn it into a dandelion. It can be different flowers. And I like that about the stamps. You can kind of interpret them as different flowers. I'm going to stamp it just like I did here, but I just want to show you the there's a die set. So I had something stuck. This stamp set is part of like a mega suite. So there's like 2 bundles, part of that Gallery Blooms suite. So there's also the one called, I think it's called Beautiful Motifs, and it's on the same page. And it has a lot of words, has a couple dies, but it has a lot of like flower dies. So this flower die is part of the coordinating one, the Beautiful Motifs, but it looks a lot like, it's just like in the opposite direction. The stamp from this set, just notice one piece I didn't pick out. So you could, rather than stamping, you could just put that down, and that would be lovely. What time is it? I have time. Since I have these out here, I should have stamped 2 at once. So let's do that so I can show you. So we just have one more card after this one. Let me do this again. So I started with Pool Party, and anyone who comes on, oh, that's not Pool Party. Anyone who comes on late will see what I'm doing for the first time. I'll do this one fast. But you can see how I can use that tape multiple times. So this is the 3rd time I've used this one, and it works just fine. So Pool Party, Bubble Bath, so definitely, if you needed to make a lot of cards, you could knock these out pretty quick. So in reference to that email I wrote this morning about the Christmas cards, part of it will determine like if there's, not that you have to use a silhouette stamp, but I think the silhouette ones work best. So I don't really know what's coming out yet, but you might have one already. You can put a Christmas tree, so if you did different colors in the background, this you could definitely make lots and lots of multiples. You could just throw in a movie. You could do it assembly line, you know, you can stick. Stripe. And stripe. Piece of hair stuck in there. That would certainly give it texture too. All right, stripe. Fingers. All right, so there we go. So now we have 2. So just so you can see the difference between one stamped and one just with the die cut, because they both look really nice. Let's make sure I get all my little holes out. Okay, now this one I'm going to have to glue carefully. Certainly if you had the adhesive paper, that would work, but I'm just going to put tiny bits of glue, not on every place, but enough so it sticks down. Looks really good. Stick this on this one. The other thing, now it's too late for me to show you, is when I stamp it, I could have I didn't get it all out. I could have done both a stamp and a cutout, meaning I could stamp it like this one, and I could have put this on top of it. Now they're opposite directions, so what I would have done is turn this, flipped it this way to the back side, and then to be in the same direction. And I meant to show you that, but it's too late. So instead of black, I'm just using the Secret C. You can use any color. You could use red. Like, you don't have to use black for that silhouette. A lot of people do, but it all depends on what you're making and what kind of mood you want it to be. All right, so this I'm going to stamp. There we go. I'll leave that open because we're going to stamp. Now I'll do it in the right color. Yep, on blue. I'm going to do the same thank you. Oh, actually, I have to do two because I made two cards. This would be cute for Halloween. You know, get different colors on there. Even if you did a whole bunch of different grays and for what, purple or something in there, and then with Halloween, you know, so it all depends on what you have for this image. You could also do this and pop something up, like it doesn't have to be a silhouette. All right, this one I'm going to pop up rather than glue it straight down. It doesn't matter. There's two. Just because I think if I used one, it would kind of weevil. All right. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I just realized I did something else. I did a couple things. All right, let me close the inks I'm not using so that I have room. I have to bring up my machine. I'm still gonna just put those on there in case I decide to make more. I'll move them out of the way. Okay, like I said, this could get messy, especially if you don't clean up. All right, so on this card, can you see there's some texture on the yellow? Whereas the first card I did, I just left plain. So both are good. But since this card kind of plays with texture, I'm gonna put some texture on my, oh, I only have one card. Oh, I might have more paper to cut. One card base. So I'm just gonna fold that so I know where it goes. And I'm using, I don't remember what this one is called. Doesn't matter what you use, but so this is like a square embossing folder. So, and my paper needs to go through the machine this way. So I have to put it in this way. Normally, I like to put my embossing folders. Sorry, I'm just trying to line up the edge here. Normally, I like to put my embossing folders the folded side in, but that won't work. So it has to go in this way. So I'll just be careful. I have not, it's actually been a long time since they've redesigned them, but in the past I have cracked some of those folds. In fact, that's actually been a long time since I've done that. What I'll do actually is I'll leave one texturized and one plain, and you can see the difference. And then my stack of paper, because many times I run out of paper. So I took one of each color and I leave it up here for when I need it. And look, I've already used that one. So I'll have to remember to bring another piece of lemon lolly up here. All right, so we're gonna do one textured and one plain. I'm going to, before I glue that on there, if you notice, this one is a little shorter and there's some texture on the edge. So what I did, oh, I didn't use that ruler. I used a different ruler, so let's hope this works. I used a skinnier widthwise ruler, but this should work. And I used a clear one so I could see. I'm just seeing, nope. So we're gonna just hope I do it straight. So I'm just going to go like that, hold it down, and just rip the paper. So I have it against that straight edge, but I still got a little bit of the roughness. So I'm gonna do it on this side too. So what I'm doing to make sure it's straight, I'm just lining it up with a line and then just going a little bit. My other ruler was clear so I could see right through it. Again, just another way of creating texture. Let's do this one too. Oh, yeah, we'll do this one, but not as, let's see, not as much because that die cut is longer than the stamp. Oh, and that one, actually, that was cool. That left a little bit more, but I like that. So even if I screwed up and I wrecked the card, to make this masking tape background is not a big deal. So I would just make another one, but that worked. All right, so actually we'll put this one on the plain card, the plain cardstock. And we'll put this one on the textured. I'm hoping I have no ink on my fingers as I rub that. All right. So we're running out of time. Well, oh, these are already kind of already on here. So we're gonna put thank you right here. And thank you. I'm gonna put this one up a little bit because it's, see, it's a little shorter. Oh, I didn't take that backing off. All right, and then I said I was gonna make a double bow. So it's kind of the same way, except I'm going to double over my, this time you have to kind of guess. I'm gonna double over my thread here, and I'm going to use the part that has the bend, pretend that's the tail, and I'm just going to make that loop. And then you just have to be careful. So you pull both of those strands through, and then that loop gets pulled, and then I'm going to cut it because I want those to be the tail. And then this is the tail. And then you can still fiddle with it. So that's this a little stepped up, but it has kind of a fun look. A little extra. My glue dots. I'll do the same thing. I'll put my glue dot in a ball, stick it on the corner. So I'll do that bow again so you can see it. But again, it just gives it a little extra. So I'm going to double like that. I'm going to take the folded end, pretend that's just the tail. Loop. Tricky part is not to get this mixed up with that. So I'm going to pull that a little bit. So that's going to be my edges. So I'll cut my tails, I should say. And this one I'll have to trim because it's kind of long. And then one more card. I think it sits better that way. And then I don't want them necessarily to cut them at the same length, a little shorter. Go. So there's that one. Oh, and I'll do the gems later, but I did them in the same place. I just put blue ones on that one. All right, so the last one, I'm going to do two. So this would be kind of like mimic that assembly line. Oh, I'm glad you like the double bow. Double bow. I do too. I make it a lot. I like it. All right, I'm gonna do 2 at once. So you could have like 4 or 6 at once, and you just kind of go down the line. Be making multiples. So we're gonna copy this one. And so this one, I decided to stamp the entire background versus this one has some white space, so it only has 3 stripes. And this one had some white space, but then I ripped it off. So we're going to copy this one. But again, I'm going to start in that middle. So this one is bubble bath. I just eyeball it. Lift it up. Again. This time I'm going to put my thumb over so it's not quite on the edge. We'll see if that works. Oh, didn't work. That's all right. And then I did, I think that was petal pink. It's close to the peach bite, it's just a little lighter. So I'm going to take a new piece of tape that I had in reserve over there. Like that. Attach that because we'll use that color again. And then I'll just go down the line. So we're going to do, this one is the Foxy foam. And did I use the thicker one? You know, I think I used, just so it all fits on there. Oh, no. Yep. I was going to use the inch one that I had pre-cut, but I think I used 3/4 inches for each of these. So again, you can vary it by, like normally I was rubbing it with this finger. Now I'm going to rub it with this finger. It just has all different looks to it. And then I'm going to do yellow, which was lemon lolly. Tape stuck to me. Actually, this one I did a thicker. So I need to cut one. That yellow I used was that skinny little 1/2 inch. So I'm just gonna trim one of my big ones. Just so it all fits on there. Yellow. This is a fun technique to do with your kids. All right, so I have yellow on my mat here, and which is an easy thing to clean up when you have a wipe. I think this is hard. Someone made me this cute little travel one. It's kind of hard. Well, that will do the trick. All right, so now now I could just do them on top and go up, but I actually like to look at what I'm doing. So I turn them over and then watch, I'm gonna turn that over. So my next one is yellow. I do that a lot too when I stamp my own designer paper. I just turn my paper around it just so I can see it better instead of kind of jumping over. Do that when I color. All right, and now we're gonna do that petal pink again. And the last one was a soft seafoam. Yeah, just to say what I said at the beginning, this would be a great, I think, underwater scene. So if you have that lobster and crab, or you have, there used to be like an anchor, or, you know, and that would make nice masculine cards. I mean, any, you know, it doesn't have to be masculine, but sometimes we struggle on masculine cards, like stripes, definitely masculine. All right, so that is too bad on my fingers. There we go. So stripes. This, I mean, it's kind of Easter colors. Put a little cute little Easter bunny on there. But we're gonna stamp. I'm gonna do two different ones, like I said. So one we're gonna stamp, and one I have die cuts. So my butterfly. Let's hope I get nice dark impressions, but I have a fix if we don't. So I'm just gonna make it so like the butterfly is flying around my yard here. And this one, I'm gonna put piece of scrap just because I don't have my cloth to wash it off. All right. So you can see the stamping is okay. I have a little faded mark there. That one is a little faded. The other two are okay. So all you do is you get a nice little fine point black pen and you fill in, because that's what I did on this one. So you just color in where I didn't stamp as good, even over the lines. This is pretty fine point, so that works. And no one will ever know. Well, that one's pretty good. So that just makes it a little bit darker. So I don't even know where this came from. I'll show you the pen. I don't know if they make them anymore. Somehow it arrived at my house. I think my kids must have brought it from school, but I love this pen and I'm gonna be sad when it empties out for this reason. All right, so that's one there, but this one, I have butterflies. And so you can just use the black butterflies to kind of do the same thing. I brought up extra in case we needed more. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to do 5 on this one, I think. Just because they're a little smaller. How's that? A little movement. And then they have, so they have like the bases and then the little bodies. But you can also, instead of, if you don't have a pen, you can even put them on top here. And you could just kind of make them 3D that way. So let me just add a little glue to these. I'm just gluing the body, but like just in the middle. You don't have to glue the whole thing. And I could have it go off, but I'm just going to have it. I'm going to put it where it was. And then I'm going to hopefully pick these up. And again, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue here and here. You see how tiny that is? That's all you need. I'm going to just put those right on top. And now they kind of come alive. So it's a fun technique, this masking tape technique. And I hope that you can see how versatile it is. They would have totally different looks with different colors. Let's find some colors that work with each other. And you can do, I'll pull out all the cards, but you can do 3 colors. I think this one was, I forget how many colors. I didn't repeat the purple. I repeated the other ones. Just play with it. And if you mess up, it's just one sheet of paper. There we go. So those are the 2. All right, and so then we'll just put them on the bases real quick. And now I have a whole bunch of cards to send out. This one, I don't think I'll put any words on the front. I kind of like it, just the butterflies. And I was playing with the gems. I think because there's so many butterflies on here, I kind of liked it plain. So I'm not even going to put gems on this one. You could put some words, you know, you could definitely stamp this room, something right there. I think maybe that's what I'll do. Actually, that kind of works. This one doesn't have any room for that, but. And I'm going to show you one other thing I did. I said this was going to be no designer series paper. So I'm not on any of these I'm creating, but I did add a little piece of designer series paper on the inside. Just full disclosure to show you. All right. I'll carefully clean these up here. I'll put those two since those two are similar. And I have those two similar. And I have those two. Those are all on screen, right? Hide that little light from my camera. So that is the masking tape technique. And I think you can see, you can play differently. You could even put colors on top of colors. I was thinking of that, putting like a stripe on top of these two stripes to kind of make plaid, or you can do other directions. So it's not limited to this. So I hope you liked it. Oh, I almost pressed stop. That would be bad. So yeah, so I hope you like it. Let me know if you make your own. Definitely post pictures of what you make. I'd love to see them. So just to reiterate, let's see. This Thursday, I actually didn't say this before. This Thursday evening, I'm going live again. I go live usually once a month at night with my good friend Ann Lewis, and she's a demonstrator from Australia, and we do a joint live. Just be prepared. They're always over an hour long, sometimes closer to an hour and a half, depending on whatever we're doing or how much chatting's going on. But they're lots of fun. So we always learn something from each other or point out something different, or sometimes you see it differently. So then it makes more sense or whatever. We don't know what each other's making, and that's part of the fun. So we're surprised too. So our theme, we do a different theme or product or something each month. This month is a 3D item, which Anne picked, and she's gonna say she doesn't like making 3D items, so she wanted to challenge herself. So I don't know what she's making. Mine's all prepped. I'm excited. And so I'll show you something cool. I'm glad you like it, Sue. Thanks for joining in. And so last month we did a Christmas in July theme, and it was kind of funny because neither one of us ended up having Christmas products, but we turned something what we had into Christmas. So that worked out. So you can always watch the replay on that. But we do them once a month. Happens that in July for us, it's twice a month. I think it's usually the first Thursday of the month. And for her, because of the time change, it's the first Friday of the month. So the time we're doing it for her is the first Friday of the month. For us, it happens to be the last Thursday because of the time change. Anyways, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, Jenny, I know you like to join in, and it's fun to have you. So yeah, so that's what I have. So I will take pictures of these cards. I will post them, and then I will also the replays here on YouTube all the time, and I will actually upload the replay to Facebook as well, so you can find it in two places. But the photographs will be uploaded into Facebook. But not right now because I have an appointment at 3:30. So I'll do that, and then I'll just post everything else afterwards. So thank you very much for joining in. If you are new to me, welcome, and I'm glad you're here. Let your friends know. I bet I go live pretty much every Tuesday the same time. So depending on what time zone you're in, once in a while I'll have to cancel, but generally it's every Tuesday at this time. Take a breath. Okay, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Stay cool this summer, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.